I come from a South Asian background. In my culture, families tend to live in multi-generational homes with their siblings, which is nice, but can also create a sense of entitlement to other people's things. My immediate family, parents and brother, grew up in the U.S. since I was in first grade. Majority of my relatives lived in our home country until a few years ago when they moved to where my family and I are. I own a two-family home that was purchased over 8 years ago. The home was purchased well before my aunts and uncles moved to the States, and they in no way helped with the purchase. For some reason, they thought when they moved to the U.S., they would be able to live in my home. I said no for various reasons, not limited to seeing how they did not take care of their own home back in our home country. No guarantee they would actually pay rent, and did not want to mix family with this kind of thing. Currently, one of my aunts and her family are looking to buy a home. They have gotten rejected a couple of times due to low offers, so are now asking relatives to give them cash to increase their offers. Had dinner at my parents' with one of my aunts and some members of her family. At dinner, my aunt asked me if I could help. I told them we cannot. We have a wedding to pay for and our own goal of purchasing a new home in a few years. Aunt responded by saying, "You really don't have any extra money? Doesn't your significant other have inheritance that she could use to help us out? You didn't let us live in your home and we had to rent out elsewhere, so you should at least help us out here." To that I answered, "Just because we have money saved up does not mean we want to give you $20,000. The money we have saved up is for our own goals and emergencies. As far as my significant other's inheritance, that really isn't your business, since it's not really even my business. That's significant other's inheritance, and not an emergency fund for people to use." For context, the only reason why my aunt knows about significant other's inheritance is because my significant other mentioned it to my mom once when talking about her grandparents who the inheritance is from. She never mentioned an amount. My mom must have mentioned it to relatives. Not the best idea for my mom to do. None of them even know the actual amount of the inheritance. Funniest part of all of this is that I don't even like these relatives. Only reason why I keep in touch or help out with other things, job applications, help with schooling, taking cousins to the movies, is because my mom asked me to just see them once in a while, and because I do care about my cousins, who shouldn't be blamed for their parents' crappiness. If they were decent people, we would try to help. However, they are generally selfish and entitled. If we offered a lower amount than requested, they would just act pissy about it. Then you are right to offer nothing. Tell them significant other's inheritance was only $1,500, and they will stop drooling over it. Only $500 and already spent. That's what I got for my grandma when she passed. It's not an unbelievable amount. She had 4 kids, 5 grandkids, and 4 great-grandkids. I'm not in touch with one cousin, so there could be more great-grandkids. Her direct kids got more, including house, car, etc., and all the great-grandkids got $500 each. I'm actually proud of you for stopping what I like to call the generational curse, where younger generations in a lot of different cultures are forced to uphold very antiquated cultural values and traditions. I think it's extremely unfair to the younger generations to have the burden of taking care of their entire family because they're either the oldest or the girl, etc. I'm American, but my mom isn't, and when I asked her once why she didn't enforce some of the same traditions as her siblings did on their own children, she said because she thought they were stupid, and she's not wrong. There's just something kind of gross about putting such a heavy burden, especially financially, on young people and not giving them a chance to live their own lives. My presumed infertility caused a big rift between us from the instant the first pregnancy test came out negative. We tried for 2 years, and he got progressively more angry and mean. We were legally separated as of half a year ago, but have been sauntering on through the divorce and separating our assets because we own a company together. Even though my husband grew to be hurtful during that time, with his constant verbal of calling me barren and infertile, we have remained mostly amicable. A couple weeks following my legal separation, I went on an all-girls trip to celebrate, friend suggestion. There was a bi couple there, 2 men from my old friend group, one whom prior to my marriage I had dated in high school. Haven't seen him since. To put it bluntly, we had a threesome. We were safe, we used condoms and spermicide, and the following day I even took a plan B because we'd been drinking a bit, and I wanted to make sure there hadn't been any oopsies. With all our precautions, I didn't think I could get pregnant, and so I found out much too late to deal with it. The three of us had been in contact, and in a somewhat romantic way, and so I told them immediately. They've been amazing about it, and we've discussed what it would be for us in the future. They don't care to get a paternity test since they're a couple, and my job is completely remote, so they even offered to live together. It's such a weird situation, but it's working really well. I like them, and we've discussed what a polygamous relationship would look like. My ex found out because my doctor called my old number to discuss it, and he mentioned my upcoming ultrasound. At first, he got angry and denied that I could be pregnant. But I think it was him facing the fact that he may be the infertile one. I am 5 months now, and it's hard to hide it anymore. But I haven't told people because this situation is new to me, and I have no idea what to tell people. I only told him the truth because we had remained decent friends, and we are still married, so I thought he deserved to know. But now he has been harassing me this last 2 weeks and has it in his head that 2 G's and a effing threesome can't raise a baby. He switches between insults, and that we will ruin the child. He is saying that he has a right to the baby because he is still my husband. It has been incessant. He used the fact that I haven't told anyone about my situation yet to tell our entire friend group that we're getting back together and finally expecting. He has even contacted our lawyers about not wanting to complete the divorce and asked how he can stop the process because we're pregnant. I don't know what to tell people. He's mentioned this to some of our employees and partners at our company. It's causing me so much stress I feel sick. This is such an ace situation to me still, and I feel like I'm just not calm enough to find a way to negate the damage I know he's causing. Proceed with the divorce. Do the paternity test to prove that he is not the father. Do not allow him to come to the hospital when you deliver. Inform the hospital staff that he is not an approved visitor. Do not put his name on the birth certificate. So, my husband and I got married when I was 20 years old. I was probably too immature for a marriage, but I loved him and really believed it could work. Well, we were divorced before we even hit the 3-year mark. We barely spoke to each other for 2 years after that. But then, when I was 25, he called me out of nowhere to see how I was doing. We ended up dating again and got remarried 2 years after that. So now we have been married 5 years total, and things have honestly been amazing. We also now have a 2-year-old daughter together who means the world to both of us. However, I recently found out some disturbing information. Turns out, not too long after my husband and I were officially divorced, he had a fling with my sister. I'm calling it a fling because I don't know what else to call it, and it was way more than a one-night stand. Turns out they were having S for 3 months, sporadically, before they called it quits. My sister has never told me this. The only reason my husband told me was that I jokingly asked him when we were both kind of drunk if he thought my sister was hot. My mother had my daughter for the night, and we were trying to just have a fun night in. But for whatever reason, my husband thought I was serious or trying to trick him, or I don't even know what. Maybe he was overcome with guilt. But that's when he decided to tell me about their little affair. At the time, my sister would have been around 19. I was speechless. He started apologizing and he cried and said it was so long ago and he never would have wanted to hurt me. And by that point, I was crying too. We slept separately that night and still are. In the morning, I called my sister and said I wanted to come over to her house to speak with her. So I went over and told her what my husband said. Well, rather than apologizing, she went ballistic. She asked why my husband would tell me this after all this time, and started saying he can't use her as an excuse to leave me if that's what he's planning. She also said it was malicious to tell me, and that she's a married woman herself now, and just on and on. I let her finish lamenting, and then I cursed her out and left. Since then, I haven't been answering her calls or texts, and heaven help that girl if she shows up at my house. My mother knows now. I guess my sister told her. Or maybe my sister told my brother and he told her. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, according to my mom, she knew my sister was going through a loose phase back then, her words, but she had no idea this had happened. So mom is horrified. As far as my husband is concerned, my mom thinks I should just try to make it work for the baby, my 2-year-old. As for my sister, I'm not sure I can even look at her again. My older brother, 34 male, is the only one currently sympathizing with my sister as far as I know. He thinks I should forgive her, but he would probably stick up for her if she caged someone, so that isn't surprising. My sister's husband is also sending me texts saying she's distraught and I should answer her. Yep. So that's pretty much all the feedback I have right now, and I'm hoping to hear from people that can be a little more objective. What would you all do if you were me? Sorry, ducking your ex's 19-year-old sister while they are 26 is wrong. They knew full well it was your sister. I mean, your sister has some serious issues as well. Who the hell ducks the ex-husband of their sister? I get that officially you are just supposed to accept it because you were broken up. But crap, I don't think I could get over my partner having ducked my sister and then lied about it for years. Your sister has been lying about it for years too. What kind of creep not only ducks your ex's sister, but then gets together again with the ex? What the duck has he been thinking about during S all that time? What the duck has been going on at family meetings? I'm sorry, I don't get the comments saying you should get over this. At the least, he and she lied or withheld some pretty serious information. At most, I think it's ducking weird of either of them to be ducking each other. I have a 2- and a 4-year-old. I'm a student, and I've budgeted so I don't need to work, as my student loan and benefits cover the essentials. Any luxuries are paid for with agency work, but this does not pay very well, so I don't do it much. Another huge help is my mother. She doesn't have a job either, so she watches my kids while I go to uni and do my agency shifts, saving me a buttload in childcare costs. In exchange, I help out around my parents' house occasionally. My brother is moving near our parents and staying with them until the move is sorted. He brought most of his things with him, including a painting he bought recently. A few weeks ago, I dropped my kids off with Mom as normal. My brother was there. He claims that during the day, Mom left the kids with him without informing him that he was meant to be watching them, so they were unsupervised. And in the time they were unsupervised, one or both of the kids put a hole in the painting. My brother showed me an invoice that says the cost of the painting was more than $5,000 when he bought it last year. I cannot pay this $5,000 plus. If I were going to pay it, I would have to take on more agency work. I could do this if Mom had the kids, but Mom has said that she will not provide childcare until my debt is cleared. I have said I cannot clear the debt without childcare, but Mom is firm that she will not do childcare until I clear the debt. She says she spoke to my brother, and they agreed it was a matter of principle. Paid childcare costs more per hour than agency pays. Despite this, I am still expected to be involved with the family, seeing them regularly, and continuing to help my parents out. I've applied for free childcare and am waiting to hear back, but suddenly, losing my childcare has impacted me a lot. I've missed the last couple weeks of classes, so I'm lagging on schoolwork. I can't talk to my tutors because I'm managing the kids, and I haven't been able to talk to any other adults because I don't have any mom friends. I've expressed to my family how this has impacted me, and they are unsympathetic, saying that if I just paid my brother back, everything would be fine. But when I tell them why I can't pay him back, they don't seem to comprehend it. Both dad and brother are high-salaried earners, and it just doesn't appear to compute with them that I can't pull 550 hours worth of wages out of thin air, or even just that it would take me 550 hours to earn that much. I want to continue a relationship with my family, but constantly being hounded for money that I not only do not have, but cannot afford to earn, is very upsetting for me. I am trying to not let this get in the way of my kids' relationships with my family, but they've gone from seeing them multiple days per week to a couple of hours per week, and both kids are upset at this. I just want the situation to be more palatable for everyone involved until we reach a conclusion. But this is proving difficult, and given that it could take years for me to pay my brother back, I would like to make peace until then. How can I fix this? What should my next steps be? Your mother is 100% responsible. Show her these responses. Sorry, but she agreed to childcare, and that makes it her fault for not supervising little ones. Honestly, end, period. Your mother agreed to childcare, and that means being responsible for them at all times while providing that childcare. These children did this while they were under your mother's supervision, and your brother's as well, who simply forgot your children existed at all. It sounds like a damn scam from your mom, brother, for duck's sake. Also, how are you not mad that they left your children unsupervised while they were supposed to be watching them? Who leaves a 2- and 4-year-old without any supervision at all? This is actually family?